As people like to say, the book is better than the movie. And that's probably the case in Maid, which is a memoir by Stephanie Land, and it's also a series on Netflix that you might have seen. I tend to think that the Netflix series is propaganda in the sense that it's trying to make the viewers have a different view of welfare, namely that the welfare system should be easier to navigate and we should just give people more stuff for nothing.
Are you the child's legal guardian?
Yes.
Can you prove that?
I could show you my stretch marks.
Are you currently under the influence of any drugs or alcohol?
No.
Are you sure?
Wow, how dare she ask if she's under the influence of drugs and alcohol? This whole system is so unfair, is what we're supposed to think. But meanwhile, the social worker is not meant to be like the bad guy. Because look, she's got a little pride flag there, and she's got, I think, another one right there. So no, like, she's progressive. She's on the good side. But she's just navigating this unfair welfare system where it makes you very cynical, and there's too much paperwork, and we need to just, like, give people stuff more quickly, is I guess what we're supposed to think in this part. This next scene is meant to imply that using government benefits is very humiliating, and it ought to be made more convenient.
Paper or plastic? Paper, please. And, I'm gonna be using one of these today.
Clean up on aisle 4. Clean up on aisle 4.
I'm actually gonna hold off on these guys.
So there was nothing in the memoir to suggest any scene like this ever actually happened, where kind of random strangers and cashiers are judging her and making her feel uncomfortable. It was the case that Stephanie Land, the author and protagonist of her own memoir, obviously, felt judged by people she knew who kind of said rude things about the fact that she was on government assistance. And by the way, I don't think there's anything wrong with the fact that she was on government assistance. That's not my purpose. But just to say that it's a very heavy-handed message by, Netflix here. And this guy, of course, the old white guy who's judging her and being such a jerk about it. There's nothing rooted in reality about that experience.
Hey, there she is. There's my girl. Hi, baby. Hi. Phew. Did you pack a snack this time?
We're supposed to split costs, Shawn. So you can buy snacks too.
Right. Okay.
So in the Netflix series, this is Shawn Boyd. In the book, his real name is Jamie, or perhaps that's a pseudonym used in the memoir. And, in the Netflix film, he kind of looks like Brad Pitt or something. But you kind of get the impression in the memoir that he's more of almost a vagrant, really. Not a very attractive guy, but with some intellectual pretensions, which is what attracted Stephanie Land to him in the first place. But there's definitely some differences between the character Jamie as portrayed in the book and the Netflix series. For one thing, in the Netflix series, it's introduced that he has this big alcohol problem, whereas in the memoir, it's not really much is mentioned about him drinking at all. Another thing is that in the Netflix series, Shawn punches a hole in the wall that would probably hurt, whereas in the memoir, he punches a hole in the plexiglass of his trailer park door, which is like a little less dramatic. So they kind of amplified the, supposed domestic violence angle for the Netflix series. One of the most blatant differences between the series and the memoir is this idea in the Netflix series that there's a drawn-out legal battle between Alex and Shawn to get custody of Maddie. In the memoir, it is mentioned for about one paragraph, and she says, yeah, like, the judge said I could have custody of Maddie, and it was just resolved immediately, that there was no question of who would get custody. And the series is trying to imply that the whole legal system was, like, rigged against her because she's a single mom and she's struggling and it's not fair. In real life, meanwhile, she got custody immediately. So now we've taken a look at a couple clips from the Netflix series. I want to talk about the memoir itself a little bit. The character of the mother in the series is played by Andie MacDowell, and she's fantastic. She plays this kind of bipolar train wreck who makes her daughter's life very difficult. However, in the memoir, this character figures very little, and so I'll read you the 1 or 2 pages where she is in the narrative. Now staring at Mom, married to a British man who was only 7 years older than me, I saw she had ballooned several sizes larger than she'd ever been, so much that she seemed uncomfortable in her body. I couldn't help but stare at her while she stood next to me, speaking in a fake British accent. It had been maybe 7 years since she'd moved to Europe, but I'd only seen her a handful of times. So the mother, she lives in Europe, and therefore she's not really a character in the memoir except for that one meeting, which is portrayed in the Netflix series, when they go out and have a burger and a beer, and it's like Alex doesn't have any money. It was a very good scene. So that scene really happened in the book, but I think it's interesting that in the memoir, it's the mother who has a fake British accent, whereas in the series, it's the mother's boyfriend and then husband who has a fake Australian accent. So they kind of transferred the fake accent to a different character. Margaret Qualley is the daughter of Andie MacDowell. So the mother and daughter, as portrayed in the series, are real-life mother and daughter. And they certainly had good chemistry as mother and daughter. So the dynamic between the two, for me, made the series worth watching. Although I do feel like the Netflix series starts to peter out towards the end. Like many series on Netflix, it kind of goes on for way too long. And that's one of the reasons why I thought the book was better. Because it tended to cohere together with a beginning, middle, and end, whereas the Netflix series kind of, the first few episodes are very tight and very kind of compact, but then it just peters on, and it gets more preachy, and that's why I am not crazy about the Netflix series. The premise of the series, and to some extent the memoir, is that welfare is too difficult to get, there's too much red tape, and there's too much stigma. And I don't really think that's true. Like, I think a lot of people receive assistance with very little, like, humiliation or shame. I don't think there should be shame, but I don't necessarily think it should be easy either. So I think many people need assistance. However, I don't think it's a valid critique of American society that welfare is too difficult to get. Does anyone honestly think that? I don't think so. My name is Michael McCara. Thank you so much for watching. Check out my blog, michaelmccarablog.com. I have a lot of movie reviews of a similar vein. And follow me on Twitter. My handle's in the description too. Finally, if you like this video, press like. And if you'd like to subscribe to my channel, I would appreciate it.